It's Lazy Booking live with Marcus Mathers. Like, subscribe, follow. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. This ain't a box fight. Oh, this game can heat stinks.
Oh, shit!
Dude, every time I see that clip of Ralph falling and breaking the chair, freaking die. What's up, guys? Chrome here. Lazy Booking coming at you live here on H2ORadio.com. We're joined this week by our special guests, up and coming, and really rocket ship strapped to him, man. Marcus Mathers, coming up through the indie ranks right now. Marcus, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm great. I'm doing awesome right now. It's the sun's out. You're outside, so I went outside. It's freaking so nice out. Yeah. So today's great. It's going by. Awesome.
It is. It's a perfect day, dude. It's perfect. We're finally turning the corner weather-wise. I'm excited. But we're gonna talk to Marcus about a lot of stuff. We're gonna talk about him. He's a second generation at this point, second generation professional wrestler. So we're gonna talk about that. We're also gonna talk about breaking into the business, working through the H2O Wrestling Academy with Matt Tremont, as well as everything he's been doing, GCW, H2O, all over the place. And we're gonna talk about an event he's got coming up. It's Marcus Mathers, All I Want.
All I Want.
Presented by Sean Henderson. That's going to be at the H2O Wrestling Center. We're going to talk about that as well. Maybe a special announcement. We'll see. Maybe. But we are happily brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. Find them in Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Dr. Paul Vidal, the best in the business. No appointment necessary. Make sure you're checking them out. Also brought to you by Alan Foy. If you guys are looking to buy or sell your home, you're looking for a change in your career or brokerage, contact Alan Foy at eXp Realty LLC at 302-682-8820. You can visit him at alan.foy at exprealty.com. And by the way, if you guys aren't members of A2D at this point, you know what the hell you're doing. Lots of perks coming in, show appearances, members only streams, shout outs, weekly sports picks from the boys at Money Pot Podcast and Willie Vegas. That alone is going to get you your $9.99 back a month. So what the hell are you doing? Make sure you guys join. Become a member of A2D Radio. We'd love to have you be a part of the fam. You already are. But let's solidify that marriage there, guys. So check it out. And 20% off from Manscaped, guys, using the code A2D Radio, or excuse me, A2D. 20% off and free shipping using our code at manscaped.com. It's 20% off free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. Throw out all your old hygiene habits, upgrade your life. Lots of great products there for manscaping, keeping yourself hygienically in good place. Check them out, manscaped.com. So let's dive in. Marcus, I told you we like to start with a topic of conversation. I actually felt like it really kind of works well with you. And the topic is agree or disagree that there's more pressure being a second generation wrestler. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I'm going to agree with that. You know, I feel like all my life, it's always like, everybody's always like, oh, you're going to get signed. Oh, you're going to do this. Oh, you're going to do this. You're going to do this. Even like, you know, my dad bringing me around. And then all the guys around me, like, looking at me just run around in the ring like 5 years old. They're like, you're going to get signed. You're going to do this. And then as I get older, I start training. And in high school, all through high school, all my teachers that found out and all that stuff, all my friends were like, yo, we're going to see you on TV. We're going to do this and stuff. So, like, it's really cool. But it's also, I feel like it has a lot of pressure because it's like, man, I have a lot of people supporting me, you know, and it's cool. It's great. But it's like, whew. I want to get signed, but like, feels like, I don't know, like I have to get, you know, I need it. It's more than I want. It's, I need it, you know? and to have all these people support, it really helps me. But it's definitely a lot of pressure for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, your father, Marc Angel, and he's an asshole. No, I'm kidding.
Mhm.
But his
Of course.
his persona, 100%. He could be a real d-bag. If you guys check him out, if you watch him on the indie scene, everybody knows the quote "F Marc Angel."
They do.
But you grew up around the ring. Mark brought you around, and I know even for myself, just knowing you guys and being around, I knew you were constantly around professional wrestling, whether it was there or your family taking you to WrestleMania and doing different things. It kind of does seem like you were kind of bred to do this, and not that you were forcing anything, but it was very clear that you had a passion for this right away. So can you kind of talk about what that was like how, like, did you know this was what you were going to do without question as soon as you had any inkling of making a decision on what you want to do? Because you're very young. You're what, 19 now?
Yes, 19.
So you're 19 now. You've been wrestling for a while. So
Yeah,
you
3 years now.
Yeah, you got a couple years under your belt professionally. And who knows what you did messing around with some of those guys to get yourself trained, unofficially. But is this something that, like, you knew, you were the 8-year-old kid when everyone's saying, I want to be a policeman or a fireman or a doctor or whatever I want to be, or, a sports broadcaster. You were like, I'm going to be a professional wrestler.
So it's definitely something that's always been there. Like, I always was like, yeah, I'm going to be a wrestler. I'm going to be just like my dad. I'm going to be just like this guy and this guy. Like, it's always been like that for me. But I didn't, I guess, make that decision. Like, I was like, oh, I'm 100% into this. And, I want to be in there, Until Cage of Death 14. And that was main evented by Matt Tremont and DJ Hyde. The big, if anyone remembers, the DVD off the Cage of Death threw 3 panes of glass on the ground. But that whole show from top to bottom, Adam Cole was on it. Swerve Scott was on it. Sami Callihan, just being in the crowd and watching them wrestle and the crowd react, that's when I really, it hit me that I want to be in there. So it's always been there because of my dad and being around, yeah, I want to be a wrestler. I want to be a wrestler. But, that was the day where it really hit me and was like, no, I need to be in there. I need to be performing in front of this crowd. I need to be doing that. So that was when it really hit me that I wanted to be a wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for being in that environment, and someone like yourself who is young enough, has the athletic ability to be able to do so. I can imagine that's kind of almost intoxicating to be in that environment where it's like, especially, and I know exactly the match that you're talking about. Insane spot going through the panes of glass. I mean, the things that Matt has done over the years is insane.
It is insane.
And I think about, his influence on a lot of young people, such as yourself and Dylan and some of the other guys that you've come up with. Can you talk about, you make that commitment now? Mm-hmm. You're gonna pursue professional wrestling. You end up going over to the H2O Wrestling Academy. What was that experience like for you, and working with guys like Matt? And who were some of your other influences through the H2O school?
Yeah, so there was so many shows that was put at the it used to be called OTW Pro Wrestling Club. So move away from this guy. There's a lot of shows in that arena for the years. And so that place was basically already home before it was home for me, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I was already always there. So then Stu and Matt, bought the building and he started a school. I knew I needed to be there. That was already my home, and it's just going to be more of a home for me. So Stu and Matt bought that building, and he put out that school. I was there, and I've been training there ever since. Still to this day, I still go to training, But Matt Tremont, he's someone I looked up to for so long. So to train under him, it was it's so cool, and it's I guess a pleasure too. It was great training under him. And other guys I was trained by was Preacher Phineas James. He trained at CZW and then went to H2O to become a main trainer. Mike Quest is now a trainer. Michael Keener, referee for ECW. He was a Wednesday trainer for, I think, about 2 years there. So I was trained under him too. And then Jenny Rose was also training for a year, I think last year. So those are really all the trainers that was at H2O who I learned under. And I learned so much different things from that I'm so grateful and thankful for.
Yeah. And so I think your dad trained a little bit there, was doing some of the training classes too. Am I right?
He was, yes.
Yeah. So did you take class with, like, what was it like going through like an official class with your dad?
It was, I guess as you can think of it, it's my dad. So it's like,
Yeah.
maybe some points I'm like an asshole. I'm like, whatever. It's my dad, and I'm just like, but it was another person I learned from, and another person that had a knowledge of wrestling for now 20 years, and 2 years ago, 18 years, so it's still somebody who had many years of wrestling under their belt that I could learn from and others could learn from. So super grateful for it. And then I didn't have a car, so I had to go with him.
Oh, true. So you do the training with them, and I know just from being around Matt too, and it's crazy. We've had Matt on the show. Matt's awesome. He's such a great guy, and very down to earth. And I know from like doing that little, what was it, dumpster fire thing that we did back in the day, but just kind of talking to him and working with him, and I had some conversations with him after. He's just such. The way he trains people is his mentality is doing it the right way. Okay. Yeah. Everybody has this perception of what it would be like because of, the type of professional wrestling that he has primarily been featured in over the years. But he is a person who has said, bottom up, we're going to bring everybody up the right way. We're going to train them the right way so that they're prepared wherever they go to be able to work with anybody, talk to anybody, act the right way in the locker room. So how has that experience been to see Matt kind of passing on that knowledge to people, young people like yourself and Luke and Dylan and a lot of the guys and gals that are over there at H2O?
Yeah. So basically the first thing, you just said about how nice he is and how he is as a person, how he carries himself, that's big that he's been teaching us for, all these years. And it's something that shouldn't be taught, just to be nice to everybody. But sometimes it needs to be to some people. And not that, like, I feel like I was an asshole or I was, but I definitely, I was 16 when I made my debut. So I was about 14 turning 15 when I was training. So I was obviously immature, a child still at the time. So him having that impact on me and showing me and teaching me how to be, a mature human being and how to speak to people and how to act the way he does, the way he carries himself is, him showing all of us that and us being around that. I feel like we kind of act and like that. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but like more and more I've been hearing from like, not just like family, but other people, how like, I guess mature I've become. And I put a lot of that on Matt because of the way he carries himself and I've seen it. And it didn't just help me through wrestling, it helps me through life too. Going to school when I went to school and working and stuff, like me trying to be like a better person and, nice to everybody and just seeing how everybody else acts. It's like, oh my God, like managers at my old McDonald's and like people at school. I'm just like, man, be nice. Like, and just, it's so annoying. If that makes sense. If you guys, have met Matt before and seen how he carries himself, it's kind of how I want to be and how I want to carry myself. And, people will always remember Matt being a nice person and more than his wrestling, how he carried himself. And that's kind of what, I want to leave behind too.
Sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. It's almost infectious too, being around people like that and kind of seeing how they are. You just naturally kind of pick up on it. So you start working, you go through the school. What was it like finally getting onto events? I know you guys did a lot of like the pay your dues events. Yes. You guys were doing a lot of the H2O events with just the kids from the school. So what was that kind of like for yourself? Finally getting in front of a crowd and having your own gimmick, your music and developing your character.
You know, it was super cool. And every time I do it, it's still super cool to me to this day. You know, me watching, you know, these other guys wrestle, and like I've watched these guys for years on TV, and not just TV but independent promotions. Now I'm in those shoes, and sometimes I don't even believe it. You know, it's so cool to me, and so like, wow, this is my dream, and it's happening like all in front of me. Like sometimes it's hard to believe. So like, man, just like step one, you know, we were on the pay your dues shows. That was our bigger show. Well, step one, undiscovered, you know, our every other Monday shows, our $5 student shows that we do still to this day every other week, and I'm at every other week. You know, that was step one, making my debut. Wow, this is awesome. Now I'm on a bigger show, and you know, this one's gonna be put on IWTV one day. Then we have another big student show, and this one is live on IWTV. Now, this is my first live match. You know, I'm freaking out because, you know, I used to watch live matches, live shows, and now I'm a part of one. And then, you know, we get put on a main show. You know, my first like main show was 2 years ago at the last extravaganza. And then last November, the month after that, me, Austin, and Dylan made our debut in a 6-man tag, and we won to have main roster spots. And I remember Matt so excited. He called us and he told us to come to the building right now just so he can tell us that. And that he's going to, you know, you guys are on the main roster now. And it was one of the coolest things ever, you know, all these steps, you know. All right, now I'm on the main roster at H2O. I'm on every live show a month. Super cool. And the next step after that, taking other bookings. I've been watching GCW for so long. When I had that opportunity in Tampa, it was the coolest thing ever to me, you know? And then just, it keeps going on and on and on. After that, it'd be Beyond, you know? Or main eventing in H2O with H2O show with Ricky Shane Page.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was another like big, like, wow, I watched Ricky like for so many years. Now I'm on a live stream main event. Like, it's so hard to believe and it's crazy to me. And Hammerstein, Beyond, I had those same feelings for that. It's just, it's so insane because I've seen it all my life, and now like I'm doing it. It's just so hard to believe sometimes. It makes me so happy. I just love it so much.
Yeah, and I
Love
mean,
it.
if you could tell, if anybody who's seen your matches or seen you live or on IWTV, you could definitely tell that, you know, it's something that it runs through you. Now, you mentioned starting to take other bookings outside of H2O. So hitting the road for the first time, what was that experience like? Especially a young guy like yourself.
It's definitely, you know, scary, you know, because you're in a lot of the shows that I first got booked on were shows at H2O. So it was different guys coming into still my building, you know, if that makes sense. So I
Yeah.
still was comfortable. I was still okay because Matt's there, my friends are there. So like new guys coming in, it's just like, hey, how are you? All right, go back to my friends, you know. But when I first started taking, you know, bookings, you know, totally outside of H2O, it's definitely scary, you know, hitting the road, going to a locker room that you don't know anybody in, maybe one person, you know, if you drove with him or you drove by yourself. You know, it's definitely, you know, a little scary. Now I'm more comfortable with it because I know more people. But even like I'm an awkward person, you know, a lot. So like, there's still a couple times I go into locker rooms and there's nobody I know besides like one person, or I know of them and I'm not close with them. So I'm not gonna obviously go up and talk to them and like, I just, you know, I'm not comfortable with them yet, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, it definitely was, you know, scary at first. Just walking in the locker room, you don't know anybody. You're at a whole new different location. You know, H2O, you know, it's great. It's live. It's all that stuff. But, you know, not everybody is watching H2O. So even just me going to a new place, there's so many different eyes on me.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to go there and, you know, it's like it's my debut there. It's my debut in front of these new people. So I got to make an impact. You know, I was just driving Nick Gage to VXS and I was talking to him the whole time. Something he told me, he's still this day, when he goes to a new place, it's in him that he has to make an impact and he has to go crazy and go nuts because you gotta show these fans different eyes on you, you know?
Yeah.
That's how I felt going to new places all the time.
Yeah, it's almost like, you know, I know we have IWTV and the internet exposes everything, but, you know, you still, particularly with independent wrestling, there's still that element of like the old territory days, right? So like if you go to Indianapolis or you go to, you know, Florida, certain parts of Florida or Georgia, and you work an independent event, probably most of those people, unless they're the really hardcore, like you said, they watch IWTV and watch as much as they can, haven't. So you're right. It's almost like working your first match all over again in front of these people.
It is.
Has there been anybody, like any like longtime veterans or anything like that that have pulled you to the side and spoke some words of encouragement and talked to you about, kind of just what you have lying ahead?
Yep. So many. And, sometimes it's like, it's kind of crazy, it's like, whoa, like some of them, like, they know of me or they don't know of me, but either way, they'll just kind of just start giving me advice, for free, and just start talking. And I'm there listening. I'm loving it. It's free advice. And sometimes, like, it's not like I'm asking for it. They just start talking, and I'm so grateful for that. A lot of times I will ask too, but like guys that, I feel like hit me the most with that stuff and did it to me for free, for just out of nowhere, just talking to me, was first like JTG at freaking VXS when they ran that show in like Walmart, actually like 2 minutes down the road from my house, because all that stuff happened and whatever. But they ran that awkward place. I seen JTG for the first time, and I introduced myself, and I just told him that I've been wrestling for about a year now, and I'm still training, blah, blah, blah. And he just started feeding me advice and just started talking to me. And I was like, I didn't ask for any of this, but I'm grateful for it. I'm thankful, he just kept going, and that was awesome. Him, he's always been doing that. And then he's like, hold on, I got to go do something real fast. Just stay here. And he leaves, and I'm like, he's not going to come back. And then he comes back out, and he keeps talking. I'm like, oh my God, this is super cool. He's done that. Too Cold Scorpio. He's when Sean first booked him, when it was the first time I seen him, he watched my match, he gave me advice after, and now every time I saw him after that, like, I don't want to call him my friend because I don't know if he sees me like that. So like, but it's like a friend, I would love to call him a friend. I don't know if he sees me as that, but like every time I see him, he'll come up to me, hey baby, how are you? Nice to see you. How's everything? How's wrestling? Like I seen him in Tampa I didn't think he'd recognize me after the first time I met him. And he's like, whoa, baby, how are you? Look at those new tights. They look good. I'm like, oh, my God. Like, he remembers me. He was an early one who did all that.
He's like a sponge, too. You talk about a guy who, like, has decades. And from independence to Japan to WWE to WCW. I mean, that dude has been everywhere.
He has been.
It's amazing.
It is. And wrestling him, when I did, it was amazing. It was it's probably one of my favorite matches ever, Yeah. It wasn't a crazy match. It was just what we did. It was perfect. And it was one of my favorite things. And I'll never forget that match. Another guy, Joker. You remember him from CZW? I got at the last Expect the Unexpected show, yes. Just kind of started talking to him and just introducing myself, telling him where I trained at. He just started laying out advice, and it's just like another guy I didn't really ask for, but he kind of just did. And I don't say that in a bad way, I would have asked him for advice.
Sure.
But started spitting some information, and it was amazing. So much I've learned from that talk with him. Too Cold, JTG, SATs are another guy. They like, it's so weird for them to come up to me now and be like, hey, we love your work. We want to work with you. Like, I'm like, dude, what? Why? Me? Like, sure. And it's just like, it's super cool. And, there's another guy who's feeding me advice, Mike Bailey, when I got to wrestle him. And before I wrestled him, I didn't want to, when I first seen him, I didn't want to tell him I was wrestling him. I was just like, I'll just wait till he sees it, But, I got to talk to him. He gave me all this advice. And the next time I seen him, he did the same thing. And then we got to wrestle. And it was great. I learned so much from that match.
So how stiff is he? I have to ask, because I feel like he works extremely stiff. And I mean,
kicks are there. His kicks are, they're there. They hit you. They hit you really hard. But like, I was alive. I woke up the next day. So like, if that makes sense. They hurt. They really hurt. But he didn't kill me.
Ron says it's all about trading in the beginning, and then he's seen your greatness.
Thank you.
So it's all about all about trading, and he's right. It's all about the next generation and trading information so that
It
the
is.
business thrives, right?
Like a lot of the students at H2O, like even like who haven't, hasn't been really taking a lot of bookings and stuff like that. There's, just started wrestling maybe a year now. I've been watching their matches, giving them advice, giving them, just because I've learned from so many people now. I feel like, I'm not doing that because I feel like I know I'm not 10 years in. I know I'm not, a vet or any of that. But like I've been around because of my dad, for like 19 years, and I've been wrestling for 3, and I had the pleasure of traveling and learning and wrestling from like a lot of cool people. So to take that information and pass it on to other of the students at H2O, I want to help them out. I want all of them to succeed too,
No, it's awesome. So you've worked a lot of different types of matches. So, for how does that feel? What is it like? Like, how do you mentally prepare differently for, if you're working a straight wrestling match with someone like a Too Cold Scorpio, whoever, and then you've worked death matches before. How is that experience? Especially a young guy like yourself. I'm like, damn.
I put myself, I don't have a style of wrestling. Some people are like, oh, he's a high flyer. He's this and he's this. And I appreciate all that. I feel like I am a little high flyer, a little bit of this, but like I put myself more as a hybrid, and that's that I can adapt to any style. And, I get to, go in and wrestle Too Cold. And, with a match with Too Cold, it is going to be, super technical, but it's going to get high flying.
Mm-hmm.
He is still a high, he really was an innovator. And like with him, he's going to finish you off with something off the top, whether you like it or not. And, you got to do the same. You got to go in there and you got to jump off those, top ropes with him too, And then I just had a pure rules match with Masha. It's kind of like that was my first pure rules match, that's something totally different than I've been working for about 3 years.
Who was that match with?
Masha Slamovich.
Okay.
Yeah, she's crazy.
Yeah, well aware of her. Yeah, and if anybody,
Yes.
she works in Impact right now, so you can definitely check her out.
And I'm wrestling her again this Friday, live on IWTV, Stan Styles Intergender Bonanza. Put that over real fast.
The good old intergender bonanza.
Hell yeah. But with that match,
real quick, is your dad on that card?
Yes, he is. He's on both nights. It's a 2-day event. It's on Friday and Saturday, and he's on both nights, and I am too.
Now, wasn't he supposed to be wrestling your girlfriend?
He was, but that show got canceled because there was.
Oh, okay.
No,
I wasn't sure if it was the intergender bonanza that he was doing that or not.
Yeah, he is this week. But going in there with Masha, like that's different. That's a totally different style match, a pure rules match. There's rules. There's actual rules. There's rules in all wrestling, but like, you only get 3 rope breaks. She beat me because I used all my freaking rope breaks and I had to tap, or I got disqualified if I grabbed the ropes. I was screwed. I had to tap. That was a totally different. I had a different mindset. I had to go in that match with.
Yeah.
And death matches, they're crazy. It's a scary, mindset. You're gonna go in there with somebody who's going to hit you with something sharp or hard, and you got to go in there and you got to hit them back with that.
Yeah.
That's how you have to survive and win the match. And it's definitely scary. Because wrestling enough is scary. I could just land wrong and break something and really hurt myself. And now we're adding in glass, thumbtacks, spiky things, hard doors, chairs. Like wrestling's already crazy enough. But the thing about deathmatch wrestling is, I feel like if you ever like look at it, like the nicest guys you will see in wrestling, the most loving guys are always going to be deathmatch wrestlers, because they really have to go out there and they really have to protect each other. And we're even putting their, I'm not trying to say we because I'm not in that column. They're putting their, Alex Cologne shirt on.
Yeah.
Alex,
he is certainly in that category.
He is for sure one of the best.
Yes.
They're putting their life on the line so much more than just regular wrestling. They both got to go in there and protect themselves so much more. The amount of love deathmatch wrestlers have for each other, it's like it's a bigger bond than I've ever seen. It's everyone in deathmatch wrestling is just super nice, loving, and like just such a great person. They all are, people.
which is like the craziest thing because it's
It
like
is.
it really is. If
The
you
opposite.
if you get to know some of them, there's like a brotherhood, and you're right because of the risk that you take when you add in all these intangible elements.
Mm-hmm.
Anything can happen.
Exactly.
So it's weird to say like you have to like protect each other while you're destroying each other at the same time.
For sure. There's safe ways behind everything, and you gotta
Yeah.
kind of be safe.
Yeah. No, it's wild, but
It is for sure.
So is that event at H2O? This Stan's event?
Yes, this Friday and Saturday at 8 o'clock on each day is live on IWTV. They will be at the H2O Wrestling Center.
Nice.
I'll be wrestling Masha Slamovich on Friday night, and on Saturday I'm in a me versus mystery match. I don't know what Stan has planned for me, but Stan will be wrestling Sunny Kiss. She'll be at the IGB.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So for anybody who's in the South Jersey area, you want to check that show out.
For sure.
There's another show we're going to talk about in a minute, but I do want to ask, you got to work, and you mentioned it earlier, in the Hammerstein Ballroom, which is historic. You know, there's certain arenas or, halls in this area. 2300 would be that. Hammerstein Ballroom would be that.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? You did a battle royal, GCW battle royal, which I watched that. It was a phenomenal event, top to bottom. What was that experience like coming out in the Hammerstein Ballroom?
That's a moment I will never forget. I just if I close my eyes right now and I could see myself. I'll give you the whole story real fast.
Yeah.
We were separated by groups, as the battle royal was, and I was I think there was 5 groups, and I was in group 3,
mm-hmm.
and I was the last entrant. So, or I was second to last entrant, and my music doesn't play. It's just the guy next, who's behind me. I'm like, okay, what's going on? And then the music stops because we're waiting for the next group. And then Brett runs over. And he's like, I'm sorry, Mark. I didn't forget about you. You'll be in the next group. And runs away. And I was like, okay. So I'm already freaking out, nervous as hell. I'm about to enter the Hammerstein Ballroom, wrestling there. I'm freaking out. And then my music's not playing. I don't know what's going on. I'm looking. I remember Alley Cat was right next to me. Alley Catch, I'm sorry. And I'm like, what's going on? She's like, relax. It's fine. Relax. You're good. I'm like, no, it's not. Okay. And then Brett came over and said that. And I was like, oh, thank God. Then my music plays, and like I said, I can close my eyes and see it right now. I walk the little aisle. There's a couple people there, and then I turn, and just that view was the most beautiful thing ever. I don't even know if that's a word, but I guess weird people going up on a building and looking out and seeing the ocean and all that stuff. And they're like, "Wow, this is so beautiful." That's how that was for me. I was just like, "Oh my God!" It was the craziest moment of my life. That's how I'll put it. Walking out, and even during my entrance, you could see it. I'm like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever.
You were so hyped during that entrance. It was awesome. I loved watching it for you. As someone who's seen you as a kid and knows the work that you've put in, to see you have that moment was really cool. When I texted your dad about it, and I was like, dude, it was so cool to watch him have that moment there in Hammerstein.
And I got a pretty good reaction too,
You did, yeah.
People, popped, and they were chanting my name. So that even I got a pop at Hammerstein Ballroom. What? That is the craziest thing to me. I'm just looking out, sea of people, and they're all freaking out. And I'm like my song's playing. I can't change my song because it played at Hammerstein Ballroom. That's my thing going forward. Here and there, maybe I'll use a different song just to throw stuff in there. But my main theme song going forward for a long time is All I Want, because played at freaking Hammerstein Ballroom. It's insane.
Oh man! And speaking of All I Want, we have a little event that you have. It's June 23rd,
Thursday, June 23rd.
Okay, I was like 23rd or 5th. Damn, June 23rd, H2O Wrestling Center, Williamstown, New Jersey. If anybody has a chance, come and check it out. It's also going to be on IWTV.
Yes.
But you're booking this, huh?
I am.
First time booking. A lot of really recognizable names on the show. So, Dante Martin, who's in AEW. You just announced that one today.
Yep.
You have Shannon Moore, And let's talk about this event, Mark.
You know, this is crazy. You know, this is the coolest thing ever. I can't tell you how excited and how ready I am for the show. I'm so excited for it, but it's like, man, when it comes and it's over, it's gonna be over. It's something huge I'm looking forward to, but I seriously can't wait for the show. You know, I've always wanted to run a show, you know, and I was making dream cards like nonstop for like a month. Then Sean comes up to me and he's like, "Yo, I have this idea, and this is my idea, running kind of like your own show, you know." And right away I was like, "Yes!" Like I've been actually thinking about this for a month now. Like this is crazy perfect timing.
Wow.
So right away we were on board. Right away we started making matches, you know, and he asked me, you know, who I really wanted, who all I wanted, whatever. And I started giving the people I wanted. And, you know, that's, if we look at the card right now, and match announcements should be coming in about 2 weeks. Still have about 5 or 6 people we're going to announce, and then we're going to get into match announcements. But right now I have Shannon Moore, Effy, Alley Cat, I'm sorry, Alex Colon, Matt Tremont, and Matt Tremont will not be in a death match. There'll be 3 death matches on my show. Matt Tremont won't be in one. Cole Radrick will be there. Dante Martin, AW superstar. Cole Radrick, you know, Cole's freaking over as hell right now, and he deserves it. He's the man. And so much more. Zoe Sky, I love Zoe Sky. You know, Zoe Sky will be there. And I kind of just gave that away, but that's okay. I forgot. But I'm so excited to announce everybody. But I have one more announcement I'm making tonight. Australian deathmatch wrestler Joel Bateman will be there. He will be in the main event. I'll say that. And Alex Colon, Bam Sullivan, they're all there. And live music will be there too. The band will be announced soon too.
The stacked card, man. Stacked so far, and you still have more announcements to come.
I do.
Really exciting, really great, and a lot of good talent over there. And I know you know, Sean Henderson, for anybody who's in this area knows he puts on really great shows as well.
He does.
Just as Matt does. So any of the events, you know, all these guys, Sean, Matt, Stan, they all do great shows in this area. So particularly if you're from the New Jersey or Philadelphia area and you're really in supporting independent wrestling, go check these guys out in Williamstown, man. They do phenomenal work. But really excited to see or to go to that show, Mark. I think we're actually sponsoring your main event or your match. We're sponsoring your match, right? Yeah. Whoever your opponent is when you announce it. So Lazy Booking and A2D Wrestling will be sponsoring that match. So that's exciting. Happy to partner with you guys and support your event. But yeah, so, you know, we're going to wrap up in a few minutes, but I just want to ask, you know, you got a lot of things on your plate. You are, you know, I don't know if you even follow this stuff. I do. I happen to pick up a copy of the May 2022 Pro Wrestling Illustrated and see Marcus Mathers, the number 9 independent wrestler, on there.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
It's super cool. It's, you know, I'll be honest, like, I keep checking the Barnes & Noble. When I first found out, Matt sent it to me when my first one, I think I was on I think I've been on for months now. And it's cool as hell every time I open it up. I think I wasn't on one, and it was like February and March. And then I was right back on it. But it was super freaking cool, you know. I was in a magazine, you know, like, brought that home, showed my mom right away, showed, you know, my grandma, everybody, like, you know, something like I really look forward to. Like, my dad, like, knows how it is, you know, but, like, my mom really doesn't. Does that make sense? So, like, I can't wait to bring her to a live event in a stadium and for her to, like, even if it's just an AEW Dark, just for her to be there and her to see, like, that, like, I think she's going to be, like, mind blown, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm sure she knows about it, but, like, she doesn't get it like my dad gets it or other wrestlers do. You know, I was at the mall with her the last month I was in, and I was like, I was in Barnes & Noble, and I seen it, and I called her back. I was like, yo, get in here. And then I showed her, and she's like, whoa. And then, like, she showed my brother, and she's like, look, he's right there. And it's super cool. You know, it's awesome.
Yeah, and in fairness, and I'm going to say this, you would never say this. I'll say, some of the names on there are some pretty high profile people who work for some pretty big companies. So I would hardly consider some of them independent names. To me, you're like number 4 or 5 on the list. But I digress. No, listen, I mean, it's really cool. It's great to see all the success that you've had. What, do you, is like an AEW or WWE, is that the goal, or are you happy doing what you're doing?
Right now, I'm happy, and I'm really happy what I'm doing right now. Not content, never to be content. I always got to keep striving and keep going, keep, moving forward. Right now I'm happy what I'm doing, but there's still so much more I got to do. AW or WWE, whatever it is, it's Impact even, like that's the goal.
I'll tell you what, Impact does some good stuff.
They do, the goal is to get signed and, be a superstar on a live, a weekly streaming, service like WWE, AEW, any of that, that's the goal. That's all I want.
Well, I don't have any doubt that I think that's going to happen for you. And anybody who knows you or seen you work, I think it's only a matter of time. Not many people 19 years old get a pop in the Hammerstein Ballroom. I'm just saying.
It's pretty crazy. I think I'm the youngest to wrestle there. I'm pretty sure.
You might be.
I was 18 at the time too.
Oh, okay.
And
that's right.
The age limit is 18. You have to be 18 to wrestle at Hammerstein Ballroom. So I don't know if Ring of Honor booked an 18-year-old or New Japan. So
not that I recall. I highly doubt that New Japan would, but
I doubt ECW did either. So,
but that's really exciting. And dude, we appreciate your time. And again, I want everybody to check it out. All I Want, June 23rd, H2O Wrestling Center, Williamstown, New Jersey. You can also, if you can't attend, it's available on IWTV.
Yes.
You can buy tickets at the door if you go.
Yep.
It's going to be an awesome show. Also, this weekend they have Stan's Intergender Bonanza, so that's going to be really exciting, and you can see Mark on that show as well. Lots of things. Make sure you guys go check out. Follow Mark on social media. Go follow H2O Wrestling. They have a fan page. They have an actual business page. Check all that stuff out. You can see a lot of the different events that Mark is on are promoted on those different pages. So make sure you guys are checking all that out. Mark, I want to thank you for your time, bud.
Thank you so much. I had a great time. Super nice out.
Yeah, man, this is a perfect night to do this. And I want to say thank you to our sponsors as well. Specialized Physical Therapy, Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton. Princeton's going. Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. 2 locations, not 3. I'm like jumping back in the Wayback Machine from like before COVID. You can find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. No appointment necessary. Make sure you guys are checking them out. Also, Manscaped. Promo code A2D. It's going to get you 20% off and free shipping. So make sure you guys are checking them out. Check out all their products. It's the good stuff, I promise you. Become a member at A2D, $9.99 a month. Again, it's going to get you show appearances. You're going to get special shout outs. You're going to get special picks from Money Pot Podcast, Willie Vegas, and so much more. Join $9.99 a month. Become a member of A2D. And also Alan Foy, EXP Realty. Make sure you guys are checking him out. So for myself, Frank Vespi on the back end. Appreciate you, Frank, producing. For Marcus Mathers, keep an eye out on this kid, dude. I'm telling you guys, this kid's going to be a big deal. It's already getting there. It's getting pops in Hammerstein, okay?
Thank you.
For myself and everybody here at A2D Radio, appreciate you guys. Love you guys. We're going to be starting to do more shows here with Lazy Booking as we're kind of easing back in from that little hiatus that I had to take for a while. Looking forward to getting back with you guys. Marcus is just the start. So for myself, for Marcus, for Frank Vespi, and everybody at A2D Radio, take it easy and have a good night.
See ya.